Are you feeling festive?
Yeah, I would say so.
How you doing, babies?
I would say so.
Good. I think I moved my tree again.
Again? Is this like the third time you've moved it?
I just like to, I don't know, I just like to tweak it. But it's just defeating me. It's just, it's coming to that point where I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh, that could be moved there and that could be moved there. And I know for a fact that I'll just think the same thing. And like, an hour later or something.
It's, you just gotta leave it. You just gotta leave it.
Nah, I can't leave it.
Just be happy with it. I'm sure it looks fine.
You know, this is the thing. Like, it's done, or the kind of theme is like, it's, you know, there's no way for it to be kind of, or to look neat, or or it doesn't need to look neat. You know, it's just like you could put a bauble anywhere, and it would, it wouldn't look, bad. But for some reason, I just looked at it and I'm like, I need to move you about entirely. It's crazy.
You think that's the artist in you?
Do you know, it is the artist in me, and it's like whenever like I'm just kind of sitting and my eyes are drawn to the tree, and I look at the tree and I'm just thinking, fucking, move that there, blah, 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 I'm just leaving it now. I'm just got to leave it. No more moving my tree about. Have you got your tree up?
I haven't. No. I've been a lazy bastard, and I've not put it up. But I've been still trying to get into the festive spirit. I've got a Santa hat that I wear on my streams and stuff, and I play Christmassy music and stuff. So
caroling? Do you do the caroling?
No.
Like just go to different people's streams and just start singing?
No. What the fuck? That's not a thing.
Hey, it could be a thing, and you could be the first person to do it.
I feel like that would annoy a lot of people if I just like got a group of people to just go into streams and just like mass spam text messages in their chat that's just lyrics for Christmas songs. That would probably just be very annoying.
I guess. I mean, when carolers come to your door, you can like just shut the door on them. But I guess if they're already in your stream, it's like they're literally walking into your house and then they're singing, and you can't chuck them out.
Well, they can just ban us
well, yeah,
for the chat, and then we can.
Well, welcome listeners to the pod.
Welcome,
old kids on the pod. I had hot dogs for breakfast. I have no shame in it. I have no shame in that.
Hot dogs for breakfast? Like, was it proper like hot dog and a bun with condiments, or was it just like just the dog on its own?
So, well, thanks for giving the listeners the idea that I'm like a total bum trash person.
Just eating them straight out of a jar.
Straight out of a jar, cold hot dogs like cigars. No, I had cooked hot dogs in a bun with tomato sauce. Thank you.
Okay.
What about you?
I can't remember the last time I had a hot dog. I literally just had like a breakfast, like cereal bar thing, for my breakfast. So, not very exciting.
I think the hot dog's a lot better.
It is. It is.
Can I tell you about something that happened to me this week?
Go ahead.
I have fallen into a YouTube rabbit hole.
Oh, okay.
It's right. Are you ready for some crazy shit?
Do
you like a good conspiracy theory?
To an extent.
I mean, this isn't this isn't like a MK Ultra kind of conspiracy theory, but it's strange and mind-blowing nonetheless. Okay, so like I'm working away, I'm doing my work, blah 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 blah, and I usually have YouTube on the background, and it's it's nice stuff like Lord of the Rings playlist if you're in I can't remember what the place is called, but like the City of Elves, like just nice relaxing playlist music that you get on YouTube, and like YouTube started playing me these like compilation mystery videos is maybe the only way that I could describe it. And so it's like these people on their ring door cam seeing this person just smiling at them, and here's a video of a ghost, but that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
But that didn't freak me out, right? Here's what freaked me out. You remember Michael Jackson?
Yes, of course.
Right, you remember Michael Jackson, and you remember how he's dead.
So this is a conspiracy about him being alive. I've heard of this conspiracy before, obviously.
Right, so a lot of celebrities get this kind of narrative where they fake their death to whatever it is, right? So I'm not putting too much stock into it. I'm just like, people. There's, as I say, there's that whole narrative of celebrities faking their death, right? But this is the thing, like, they spoke about a certain interview, and I'm going to just make sure that I get the name right, because when I was trying to tell Alan the name, I got it wrong. And he was just like, John, what absolute nonsense are you spouting to me? So, after Michael Jackson's death, right, there was an interview on Larry King with a personal friend, two personal friends of Michael. One of them is a man called Dave. Right?
Right.
So, you look up the interview in your own time, kind of thing, and make your own mind up. I'm not going to tell you how to interpret the information, right? But this interview with Dave, people got like, it started creating like this buzz because people were like, that's not Dave, or that's not a real person. That's Michael Jackson in costume or in a disguise.
What?
Right, and so I'm fully in the conspiracy theory, bedlam mind at this point. So I'm kind of like, right, so I watched the interview, right? Because I was like, I'm going to find out for myself. And I'm very skeptical. Usually I'm sitting and I'm like, that could happen and this could happen, blah blah blah. But see, when I watched that interview, I'm like, that's Michael. Why is Michael Jackson doing this? It's so weird. Are you looking it up? Are you watching it?
I've not got the audio in, but I'm just like looking at the guy. And
do you think, doesn't he look eerily like Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson, didn't he have his hair and his makeup and all that on? Because you remember this was like an older man who'd went through a hell of amount of cosmetic surgery. So it kind of stands to reason that kind of stripped back or with makeup prosthetics, he could look like this.
I feel like with his money, he could have probably gotten a much better disguise than this. If this is like, because it just.
But like, I guess I was trying to justify it or kind of put the logic behind it for me. So I was kind of like, well, if this guy has known Michael Jackson for a long time and they've been friends and they've been around together, then when you're around people, you can pick up their mannerisms, and you can pick up their, as I say, you can pick up their mannerisms. But because when I was watching it, I was like, well, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that this person knows Michael and emulates Michael because he, I don't know, and likes him as an artist. But it's just so weird, isn't it? You can't go out and like obviously like I chased this up and I was looking it up in Reddit and stuff, and I'm like, people in Reddit are like, how do you even begin to try and find the truth of that out? Because general consensus is that Michael Jackson's dead.
Yeah, but
So
like,
if you go to somebody and be like, listen, I think I've got proof that Michael Jackson isn't dead, and then you wheel it, these interview and all these conspiracy theories and stuff like that, people will look at you like you are on another planet.
but also like, if that let's say for the sake of argument that is Michael, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck would he go on national TV and make up to do an interview about his death? Why would they not just fuck off?
Well, this is what
would be the point of that?
His I guess believers or his most devoted fans, they think that this was Michael coming on TV as a last appearance for his fans, and like when it's really weird, right? Because I've never heard of this person before, Dave. When I hear about Michael Jackson, I might have heard about like other kind of celebrities embroiled within him, but I'd never heard of this person, which I guess. I mean, I can't prove that it is or it isn't, but I guess if you're like, say you're me, right, and say you just come across that video very randomly, I think that I think you would believe it. You would just kind of take what you've been told at face value and feel like you would need to debunk it yourself. You would just kind of pass on the theory or the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I mean, if that is a thing that is real, then I mean, okay.
It's just
such an odd thing.
It is a really like people obviously argue against it and people argue for it. People are like, well, how can why would he do that to his children, and why would he do that to his extended family and stuff like that? But there's this mad theory that on the day he died, apparently he went to fucking Mexico on a flight that the destination was not listed. It's crazy, like just all these wee things that could be really innocuous details, like just really, and then you've got people on the opposite side where they're like, well, this really minute detail that means nothing to MD actually, blows this case wide open.
But this is all just hearsay. Like, nobody's got actual proof any of this happened, so...
Exactly. I mean, the only thing that people really have is, like, the guy, Dave, being on that interview. And if you watch it, and like, if you watch it with the sound on and stuff like that, he really does sound and act like Michael, according to, like, a hell of a lot of people. There's some people that are like, I've seen Dave, and that ain't him. That's Michael playing playing the character kind of thing, and I'm like that. Like, if you start questioning, whether Michael Jackson's dead or not, what else are you going to question? Where does when you start pulling at the string, you loosen the sweater, as they say. I feel like that if you don't, if say that you've seen this conspiracy theory, and you believed it, there would be a lot of things that you would then question your beliefs on.
I mean, if there's anybody in the world that's going to have the money and the power to fake their death so that they can live a peaceful life without anybody bothering them, it would probably be like the celebrities like Michael Jackson. So it's not that hard. Like, if I found out this was an actual thing that did happen, and people found out he actually was still alive somewhere, and that this was actually a whole conspiracy that he put together so that he could like have a private life somewhere, I wouldn't be sitting there going, I can't believe that. I'd be like, that's believable, because he probably could pull that off, and it's understandable why he would want to. So it's like, I don't know. I don't think it actually is a thing, but like, it wouldn't be something that would blow my mind if it actually was real. I'd just be like, it makes sense.
I get that.
He would do that.
We've spoken before about how certain fans can kind of go that extra step and you know, like certain celebrities have had like their house invaded and you know, stalkers and stuff like that. And for someone who is prolific as Michael Jackson, I can't even begin to imagine how many people thought that it would be fine to just like rock up to the Neverland Ranch and see if he was in.
Aye, it's fucking crazy. Like, you don't really hear often stories about. I mean, you do hear about them, but it's not like a super common thing that you hear about like celebrities dealing with like fucking crazy ass fans.
Mm-hmm.
But like, because of the popularity of like internet celebrities with like YouTubers and all that kind of stuff, you hear about it a lot more often for them because they're like, they just talk about like their whole like, you know, thing is they just talk about their life and stuff in their videos or their streams or whatever. They'll just talk about like things that happen in their life. So like you hear about that kind of shit way more often with them, but like obviously it's for like actual celebrities, it's obviously way worse than that, which is insane because you hear about when you hear about how bad some like just YouTube people like get with fans, like how bad their fans can be, and you think, man, that's got to be even worse for like big like proper like A-listers. It's got to be even worse than this, and this is already sounds like insanity.
If you're one of those people that, you know, are kind of a stalker, I guess like someone from YouTube or Twitch or someone like that is more accessible.
That is the thing. It's more accessible because there's no like
they wouldn't have their own security. They wouldn't have a huge, big, massive house that they could hide in. And you know, they're regular. They tend to be just regular people, just kind of living a life.
That is the thing. It's people get attached to they have the whole parasocial relationship with like people that are like YouTubers and stuff because it is such a more personal feeling with the way they do content, because it's like you're just watching them just kind of be themselves and just talking about their life and stuff. Whereas, you know, an actor's just, you know, he's an actor, just playing characters and but it's fucking crazy, man.
I think, like you said it there, like actors tend to like they act like they're someone else, or they're portraying a character kind of thing. Whereas like kind of social or online celebrities, they tend to be just themselves or a heightened version of themselves.
It just reminded me, actually.
Do you have a stalker?
No. I'll try to find this. Where is it? It was like yesterday or something.
You don't even know.
I can't remember. I can't find an article or anything about this, but there was a thing that happened. I'm not going to go into. I won't try and get any details of this. I'll just say the actual what the actual story is, because I can't find stuff about it. But it is a thing. This is something that's happened where it was like a few days ago. I think there was some post I saw where some Twitch streamer. I think they were a fairly small streamer, I think, and they were just streaming, and apparently somebody who used to watch them a lot who just like disappeared, be watching them for like 2 years or something like that, and then they like came back into their stream all of a sudden, and they were like, it was this thing with them reacting to it, being like, oh my god, I haven't seen you like in my stream for 2 years and I recognise your name and all this, blah blah blah, and then like acting like all emotional about it, and I was just like, that's such a weird thing to do. Like, to me, it's like, okay, I mean, if there was somebody, if you're a smaller streamer, you can, you sometimes can have like, you know, a closer relationship kind of to people to the few people that watch you, but like
you're on more friendly terms.
Aye.
Yeah.
But like, if somebody like who watched me regularly just disappeared for 2 years and then came back, all of a sudden I wouldn't be pure like emotional about it. I'd be like, oh, welcome back. I reckon I remember your name. how's it going? What you been up to? Like, it would just be kind of like that. Like, to get emotional about it as if it's like this old friend, when it's just somebody that watches you online. You probably don't know anything about them, really.
True, yeah.
And it's just like, it's such a weird thing to do.
I mean, maybe it's the action of that kind of person coming back. Maybe told that person that they were, they were doing the right thing, or maybe the person at the time, their head was like, I'm losing followers, or maybe I'm not that good, or maybe I should stop doing this. What's the kind of, maybe they were at a point where they were questioning, whether or not they should continue doing it, and maybe seeing that that subscriber or that follower kind of come back after a while, maybe just put a lot of things into perspective. I guess like that's the only, because you're right. I mean, for us to get really emotional over a stranger is a bit strange.
It's very strange.
People would call it out, and they would be like, "Well, you're just doing that for the likes and the clicks, because showing emotion or showing like a that kind of level of vulnerability, I'd imagine would help you do a little bit better. More people are like, check out this guy, or
Oh, I found it actually. Holy shit! I found an article about it. She started crying about this person coming back. And I'm just like, this is such a strange way to react to. Like, you don't know this person. They used to watch you, but you don't know them. This isn't like some friend. It's just some random person that watches you. It's like, okay, fair enough if you recognise them because they used to be there all the time and you just remember the name and stuff. But like, it's like such a strange reaction to cry about this person who who you don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know anything about them probably.
It does seem a little, or maybe the person was just feeling sensitive that day, because I don't know, like, if I seen someone that I hadn't seen for a couple of years in the street, I don't think I'd break down. I think I'd be like, as you say, you'd be like, all right, how you doing? It's been a while.
Aye. It's just but like, apparently she said that she was like worried that she was like, oh, I was worried about his well-being in case like something happened to him and that's why he wasn't back. But it's like, I mean, you don't think it's possible the guy was just like, nah, I'm just tired of watching this person.
Yeah,
and they just stop watching. They could be they just stop watching.
Yeah, like the content's kind of boring for me just now, so I'm going to unsubscribe. And if I come back to it, I come back to it.
I don't know. It's such a strange. It's like the complete opposite side of the parasocial thing, where viewers get too attached to like people they watch on like YouTube and that, and now it's like the opposite of that, where a streamer getting a bit too emotionally attached to a viewer in a strange way. It's so strange.
I guess like some streamers and their viewers and their subscribers and stuff like that, I guess it's a parasocial, almost it can be like a family relationship where the person are either the matriarch or the patriarch, and they're kind of leading the family in a direction, or do you know what I mean? Like, I guess the idea of like streamers and stuff like that is a relatively new idea, so maybe people don't quite know how to, the relationship's not being defined yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is a very different kind of thing, for sure, because it is strange. But this is why I'm glad that there are a lot of there seem to be a good amount of big streamers nowadays that are talking about this. This kind of the whole parasocial thing and how it's unhealthy to get so attached to somebody that, I mean, you watch them a lot and you know a lot about them, but they don't know who you are. They don't, and there's no way for them to know who you are, because you are one of thousands of people that watch them, and there is no fucking way for them to know every single person that watches them, and like remember who they are and like care about them all. It's just not a feasible thing. And you can't sit there and think that you specifically are special enough to be like the one person that they really remember and care about. It's like that's just not going to happen. It's not healthy to think that way.
Yeah, some people think that they are the person that they're making the content for, whereas they're just making the content for as many people to enjoy, or But it's a little like Friends. Like everybody knows Friends, or the majority of people know Friends, and the when you're watching Friends, you're like the seventh member of the group. You're like there, and you're seeing the adventures, or you're seeing the skits and all that kind of stuff, and you're part of it because you're the viewer. But if you were to walk up to any of the six people from the Friends cast, one, they don't care who you are. Two, they'll have heard every single thing a fan will ever say to them.
Aye.
They will have heard it all. Oh my God, I loved you. You got, all this kind of stuff. And I'd imagine for them, it's just kind of like, yeah, that was a job of mine for a while.
God,
do you know what I mean? Like the relationship, it's just no there.
That is one of the things that boggles my mind. Like when I think about if I ever met certain like actors or celebrities or whatever that I admire their work and I'm like a big fan of, and the one thing I would never think to do would be to say a quote from a movie or something they've been in at them, because to me it is that thing where it's like somebody's already done this to them, and they're sick of it and they don't want to hear it and they don't care. It's like they're not as invested in that one particular movie that they were in that I loved as I am.
Because
they just aren't, because they can't be, right? It's like if I've met somebody who I admired that was like a celebrity, an actor or whatever, it would just be a case of, hey, oh my God, you're this person. It's great to meet you. I'm a fan of your work. Can I get a picture? Thank you so much. See you later. Have a nice day. That's it. That's it. Maybe if I had a question of some kind that was a specific thing about blah blah blah, but like even then, I would only really want to do that if it was like some kind of proper like meet and greet thing they were doing, or some shit like that. Like if I just ran into them on the street, I wouldn't want to like stop them and like be like, I wouldn't want to stop them for too long. Like it'd be a thing of like, oh, I'm sorry to bother you.
They've got a life. No matter what you think of them, they are a person and they have a life.
It's just I just like the people that'll run up to like fucking just because you were saying Friends there, like people that would run up to like Matt LeBlanc and be like, hey, how you doing? And like he's gonna sit there and be like, oh, that one, oh no, he's gonna, and he's seriously like, I've fucking heard. If somebody else says that to me, I'm going to strangle them. I've like millions of times people come up to me and say that fucking line, and I'm sick of hearing it.
Do you know, it must be for Matt LeBlanc especially, it must just be a point where it doesn't even register in his brain, because he's delivered the line that often, practiced the line that often, and then people, if he's getting interviewed, will say it, and if people see it, or if they catch him, So whenever he hears it, he must just be like, what's that for? Like just like numb, the white noise whenever he hears it.
Oh, it's fucking.
I was gonna say, like I think fans, or the relationship between fans and whatever they're being a fan of, like because we're all connected these days with like our phones and stuff, people basically want that instant gratification for celebrities. So like like they go to Comic-Con where or something like that, where there's celebrities in a panel and they can ask the celebrity questions to celebrities right there in front of them. It's a distance kind of, or a meeting at a distance. But like if you're running into them into the street, they don't, nobody wants the Comic-Con panel where they're like, and what happened there and blah 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 blah, and can you record my ringtone? Kind of stuff.
That's like, it's like I'm sure most celebrities are probably like very happy whenever a fan would come up to them and be like, "Oh, I'm a fan. Can I get a picture?"
Must be nice.
That's a nice thing, and they'll probably be like, "Oh, I'm," they're probably very happy to be like that, and it's probably a nice thing to be like, "Oh, there's a fan. That's really nice. Happy to meet you as well." But that's enough. And if you go any further than that, you're probably being a nuisance, and they're probably sitting there like, oh no, it's one of these people, one of these fans that doesn't know boundaries and doesn't.
I think that because some people see other people as celebrities, they think that for some reason that human decency goes out the window with them.
Aye.
You know, like I'm thinking about me, right? And if I was to meet a very particular type of celebrity, or if I was to meet Henry Cavill, I would probably make a really inappropriate joke about how I wanted him to rail me. Like I would, like I know that I wouldn't be able to help it. I would just sit and I would look at him and I would make the joke. But I wouldn't sit there and maybe that is inappropriate, obviously, but I wouldn't sit there and go like that, hug me. Or, I wouldn't I don't think I would infringe on their boundaries, that way.
Aye.
But I think some people do. I think some people, because it's a parasocial relationship, they want to hug the celebrity or they want to touch the celebrity. And, people are people. Some people just don't like hugs. Some people don't like, touching people. And I think if you're a celebrity or, if you're someone who is well known, like, a streamer or an influencer or whatever, it must be so difficult.
Aye. That is the hang into it, because it's like fucking. Is that it, like if you are like a kind of like celebrity or whatever who has like a stream or something, and you are the kind of person that like you don't really like people touching you and stuff like that, and then you do run into a fan and they like want to hug you and stuff, and you're like, oh no thanks. They have to awkwardly be like, oh no. And then that person is going to probably go back home, go into their fucking blog or their Twitter page or some shit, and like, oh my god, I met this person, the fucking streamer of the day, and they were so fucking rude, and blah blah blah, and you're like, no, you're the arsehole here.
It's a really precarious predicament for like somebody, because if you do meet a fan, that person supported you, so you want to show your gratitude for that support.
Aye.
But at the same time, that support shouldn't come with, I don't know, a minefield, because it feels like, if you're like, no, I'd rather not hug, if you want a picture, I'm fine with a picture, but I don't want to hug, you can come across as rude, and if that person idolizes you, they've put you on this pedestal,
Aye.
it must hurt so much, to essentially what you're hearing in that moment is something that goes against your idea of that person. Because your idea of that person is, oh, they're so nice, they must do all this, and they'll do this for me, and blah, 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 blah. And then when you meet that person, you realise that they are just a regular human being, and they've got places to be, and, coffee to drink, and, they don't really have the time. Then I guess that it conflicts with that idea that you've got, so it just kind of... it brings you back down to reality in a really harsh way.
It's that thing. It needs to be. I feel like, especially with the prevalence of online celebrities and on like social media like YouTube and fucking TikTok and Twitch and all that. It feels like parents really need to talk to their kids about this kind of stuff to really like make them think about this shit. Be like, listen. Like, we know you care about this, we know you really love this person that you watch on whatever website or whatever like that, and you're a big fan of them, but you have to understand, they're just a person.
Exactly,
You can't put them on this pedestal to think that they're going to like be this amazing person when you meet them, if you ever meet them. And, you have to remember, to them, you are just a stranger. They don't know who you are. If you meet them, they don't see you as the same way you see them, like, so don't like fucking get offended and take it personally if they don't want to fucking sit there and talk to you for like a fucking hour and hug you and all this shit. Like, it's just like, they need to really explain that shit, especially to young kids, because they have like more emotionally, they're not emotionally mature enough to like go through that shit themselves. Really, a lot of like really young kids who will get attached to these people that they watch. So it's like, parents really need to talk to their kids about this kind of shit.
And that, that kind of reality check could be traumatic for that person. You know,
Aye.
if them in their own lives, you know, their fandom is something that helps them escape their, you know, something. You know, it could be really traumatic. Where you're like, there's something that I really loved so much that I thought because I've given it so much love, I would get that love returned, and I haven't had that love returned. You know, it can just
Aye.
paint really, really bad ideas. But you know, Henry Cavill, if you're listening, rail me. That way we can just get it out of the way, and then when if I ever was to meet you, you know, I don't have to make that joke. But
He's
yeah.
he is a very handsome man, isn't he?
Do you know, he's handsome, he plays Warhammer.
He is a big nerd, isn't he? I
The
have
big
heard
nerd, yeah.
he is a big nerd.
Which means that, you know, you probably have a. I will say this. I have been a fan of Henry Cavill since I think his first film debut was in the movie Stardust, starring. What is it starring? God, Robert De Niro. Who else? Who played Catwoman in the Tim Burton one? Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Starring those two, he was. I don't know, he was just this kind of wee throwaway character. But then people think like Henry Cavill, or because they've known him as Superman, they think that he's always been like this super buff dude. But there was a movie he did called Immortals, which was a kind of Greek retelling of Perseus, the story of Perseus.
Oh, okay.
And he played Perseus, I think. And he was just like, I mean, he was, you know, he had the six pack and all that, but he was very skinny.
Wasn't he jacked?
Wasn't he jacked?
But just
he
like
was
in shape.
In shape.
Yeah.
Maybe 20.
Okay.
So like, I've been a fan of his for a long time, and some people coming in being like, "Oh my god, Henry Cavill is the only Superman." I'm like, bitch. He played Perseus.
I think Man of Steel is the first thing I've ever seen him in. When I think about that, I've not seen him in a lot.
I think it was Immortals was in 2008. I could be wrong in that, but I think 2008. And then I think that's when, you know, after that Man of Steel was and all that was coming out. But they did him so dirty. Warner Brothers.
Oh,
like
did they?
with it, I feel like with the Zack Snyder cut, I feel like if that was the original, you know, Justice League movie, there wouldn't have been, you know, there would have been more sequels, and you know, we would have seen a lot more Henry Cavill as Superman.
I mean, if you want good Justice League movies, just watch the animated ones, because they're pretty good.
I've seen them; they're pretty good.
But this is actually something I wanted to discuss, since we were talking about this kind of. We're just talking about like e-celebrities and stuff, so this kind of fits. To go for this to that. The Game Awards are tonight.
Right.
And one of the categories of the Game Awards, that I think was last year was the first year they did it, and then they're doing it again this year. One of the categories they have is Content Creator of the Year.
Oh wow!
Right, and I don't know every single person on here that well, but I think every person on here is either a streamer or a YouTuber.
That's pretty good.
And I was just curious. I thought it'd be interesting to see if you know a single person on this list, because you don't watch Twitch. And you don't really watch like the gaming side of you, like you don't really watch like gaming content creators on YouTube.
No, I don't really. I'm not one for esports or anything like that.
You watch YouTube, and you know you'll watch stuff about games, but you don't really watch like you're not the kind of person that watches content creators that make content playing games, like just then playing games. You don't watch.
I'm not looking for streamers. I'm looking for the game.
Yeah. So I was just curious if you even know who any of these people are, at all.
Right. I might know one.
I think there's one here you might know, or at least have heard of, but the other four I don't think you would have. You'll know
Okay.
at all. So the first one is Gref G.
Gref G.
Gref G.
No.
Although to be fair, it could be Grefk. I don't actually know the guy that much. I've seen his name about a lot, but I don't really know him.
Is it double F?
No. Gref and G.
What if it's G-Refk?
Grefk. It could be.
G-Refk.
It could be.
No idea.
Okay, fair enough. The next one is Ebai.
Ebai?
Ebai, E-B-A-I. I think he's a Spanish or Brazilian content creator, I think.
Okay.
But I've heard his name before as well, but I don't really know much about him.
Don't know a single thing. Honestly, I thought you were saying eBay at first.
eBay.
And like I just had that whole eBay in my head, and I was just no idea.
Right. The next one is Gauls. I think that's how you say it. Gaules. Gauls.
Gauls, okay. No, never.
No. Okay, fair
Never
enough.
heard it.
Right.
Can I just say, right, what is it with like streamers and like content creators and all that? What's the Z? Like you're using a Z instead of an S. Like, like I remember, right? Like this is how old I am. Old kids on the pod. I remember one of my Xbox controllers, Mad Cats, and
because Z's look cool. That's why. Z's and X's are very cool, John. Okay.
I have bought Mad Catz controllers, and let me tell you, they are not cool. That Z is not adding a single ounce of cool to that.
Aye, that is the thing. That was the gamer tag of the days.
Mm-hmm.
The X's and Z's fucking everywhere.
XCFZZ Snipes XVXX.
Aye.
Never heard of them. Sorry.
Right. So these first three are people who I've heard their names and I've heard them be referred to, but I've never watched any of them, and I don't really know them. I think all three of these guys. I'm not sure if this is correct. Ebai, I think he is a Spanish content creator. Or he speaks Spanish, and that most of these viewers are probably Spanish, which is why I would never ever watch them. The other two, I think, possibly are as well, but I don't know them.
Could Mr. Ebai be Portuguese if he's
possibly
from Brazil?
I think all three of these are potentially Portuguese or Spanish-speaking content creators, because those two, I think Spanish and Portuguese are like the two more popular like languages watched on like Twitch and stuff, like behind English. So
yeah,
that would make sense for them to be big and be thinking for this. But like I said, I don't know much about these three people, so I'm not gonna. I don't know. But the next two, one of these people I actually do watch and like a lot, and the other one I know very well, but I don't really watch, but is like the one I think you might know.
Okay.
So the first one is Fuslie.
Fuslie, like the pasta.
It's spelled differently.
Right.
How's Fuslie spelled? The pasta? Is it just
Fusili? Fusili.
Oh no! It's not. So it's not Fusili. It's Fuslie. So it's Fuslie.
Lie. Sure, that S isn't a Z.
It's like Leslie, but instead of LE, it's FU at the start.
Right, okay.
Because her name is Leslie, so her name's Leslie and her username is Fuslie. I don't know what the FU is, like, if it means anything, but she's pretty cool. I watch her because she's part of like a big kind of group of streamers who all like play games and stuff together.
Cool.
And she's like kind of in that group, and I watch her because of that. But she's my vote for the winner. I'm hoping she gets the win because I quite like her. She's very entertaining. Quite enjoy her streams. And then the only one here I think you actually might know is Dream.
Who?
You don't even know Dream?
I don't know Dream.
Who mega loled Dream?
Is dream spelt with a Z anyway?
It's just the word dream.
Dream. Well, I think the bed company's going to sue.
Does Minecraft.
Okay.
He's like the popular like gamer channel, you know. Like he's like the like top like kind of gaming like personality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like fucking number one, like fucking every cunt. I mean, it's like he's just like insanely popular. I don't watch him really. I know of him just because of how big he is. He's like the PewDiePie of this generation, you know.
Right. Okay.
He's like just fucking. I've just like all the kids watch him. Super popular. Just
let me ask: is it possible I've seen any of these people in like a viral clip, or is there anything like that?
I think Dream no, because he doesn't actually show his face, so I don't think you would have ever recognized. I don't think you would have ever seen a clip of him. I mean, you may have seen a clip of one of his videos, but I don't know which one it would be. Fuslie actually does have a very popular clip about her that she doesn't like very well, that you may have seen potentially. It's a clip where I think I think it was like a pure old stream back when Pokemon Go first came out, that she was streaming, and it's just her in her bedroom, and she's playing Pokemon Go, and in the clip, somebody in our chat is like, "What's that under your bed?" And under her bed you can clearly see a vibrator, and there's also like a guitar, and she like realizes that's what they're looking at, and she like just kind of turns her body in her chair to like block the vibrator, and it's like, it's a guitar. Try to like block it, and it's just that was like a viral clip that went about for a while for her, that she's not a fan of. I think she kind of like laughs at it now, like it gets kind of memed and stuff now, and she kind of laughs at it a bit. That's like the one clip I think you would have maybe seen of her, if you've seen any.
I don't think that I have seen it, but I would. I mean, you should be very proud. I mean, I think that I don't think there's anything to be ashamed about when it comes to women and if they masturbate.
Aye, there isn't. It's a weird thing, isn't it? It's like people are so obsessed with that kind of shit, when it's like it's just a normal thing. Everybody does.
Way, like, how many like male streamers have like Kleenex at the side of their beds? You know, people aren't looking at that and being like, "Whoa, what's that at the side of your bed?"
It's fucking. It's people are so. I think it's probably mostly like young male viewers that are like do this kind of shit with female streamers and stuff, where they're just obsessed with like want to catch them out to be like, oh, I see your sex toy, ha ha ha, kind of thing. Like, it's just fucking.
It goes back to that like overstep my boundary, where it's like, why is it even a thing? Why can't you just see it, move on? Or if you're worried that she was going to be embarrassed or anything like that by it, why not just say, I don't know if you can do it privately or anything like that, but just be like, hey sis, there's a monster under your bed.
A monster.
Just something subtle to be like, just because there as we spoke about, there are people that are stupid enough to be like, I bet you do that with this and blah 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 blah.
It's such a strange thing, because like they'll even like date for stuff that isn't even it. Like there was a clip, I think there was a clip, it was like last week or something I seen posted where there was a female streamer who was in their room, and I think it was like on a table at the back of the room, and next to like their makeup and stuff, there was just like this kind of long black thing, and there was people in the chat being like, haha, lol, look at that. Like pointing out as if it was like try to like catch them out to be like, oh, look what you've left out, and it was literally just a speaker. It was just a speaker. It wasn't even one. It was just, and they're just like, it's a speaker, guys. Like, fucking hell, relax. Why are you so obsessed with this shit? Like, try to catch people out for having them out, and it's just like, god damn, just chill the fuck out.
It's really weird how people are like obsessed with other people's sex lives. Like that person could be doing nothing. That person could masturbate once a year and not tell anyone. It is not up to it's nothing to do with you. Again, unless you're Henry Cavill and you want to use me, that's completely fine.
That is like that is such. There's so many problems in the world could be solved if people just did not care. If people just would mind their own business about other people's sex lives.
Mind their and not just in their sex lives, but with everything. Just mind your fucking business. Unless someone has asked you for your opinion because they feel like your opinion holds some form of weight, then feel free to give your opinion. But I mean, this is something that I've certainly learned, and I've been guilty of it. Lainey, please, baby, you'll have your turn to talk. Is unwarranted criticism and unwarranted kind of opinions, where it's like somebody could just innocuously say a problem, and they maybe just needed to say the problem out loud. She's digging.
She's digging.
And like they'd say the problem out loud. They maybe just needed to say the problem out loud, or verbally assess the problem. And I've kind of been guilty of, well, here's what you should do, and here's a 12-step plan, and here's links, and I've made an appointment for you, and all this kind of stuff. Some people just don't need. You don't need to always give unwarranted advice, opinions, or theories as to what they're doing in their private lives.
Exactly. It's people are too nosy for their own good.
I'll tell you something though. You will not believe who listens to this podcast.
Wait, who?
Michael Jackson.
Was I actually expecting you to say something that we know? I was like in my head there, I'm like, am I going to have to bleep this name just so they don't fucking anyway and all this? And you're just like, okay.
I mean, you can bleep the name if you want to create a bit of mystery. But, yeah, well, he's dead, so it's not as if like his lawyers are going to be like, here, Michael Jackson doesn't listen to your podcast. Well, prove it. Because I've seen proof online that he's alive, so... And what now? Lainey?
No.
You don't need to dig. There's nowhere to dig to.
So I've been playing the new Minecraft update.
Is it the dungeons and cliffs?
Cliffs and caves update.
Cliffs and caves, that's it.
Yeah.
How is it? I've seen they added in let me make sure that I get this right. Axolotl?
The axolotl. That was added in the last update because the Cliffs and Caves was supposed to be this big update, but they had to split it into two parts because they just weren't able to get the whole thing finished. So the first part they released earlier this year, and that added that would just add most of the new items, and they added axolotls and some other new stuff like that. And then the second part of the update that they've just released is mostly them changing the generation of the world. So now there's huge caves that are insanely big and wide open and all that, and they go way deeper. And then there's now also new mountains that are fucking massive, and the world height is way bigger. So you'll see mountains that are so big you can barely even see the top of them.
That's pretty good.
Pretty crazy looking shit.
That's pretty good. Because Minecraft's all about that exploration in it. It's really about that world building, that world exploration. So I didn't think that it needed to be any bigger than it was the last time I played it, maybe last year. But
it's pretty crazy.
Can I have my slipper back? Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah.
What are you having for dinner tonight?
I don't know.
Well, these puppies are having mince and carrots.
Your puppies are eating better than me.
I mean, if you want, I can drop you off some mince and carrots.
Probably just have some. Probably just have some sort of chicken type thing with some chips and peas. That's usually that's been my main diet over the past few months. Is I've got varying different kinds of chicken products, and I have that with some chips and peas, and it's quite delicious. I quite like it.
I mean, if you like it,
I do. I really like chicken, and fish. I would much rather eat chicken and fish over red meats, I think.
I mean, I do like a good bit of beef, and I like pork as well. I don't know, like I'm probably more a red meat than a white meat kind of person. I do like fish, like there's fish that I do like, and I love chicken, but I don't know.
I do like red meat as well. Like I like pork and bacon and steak and like beef burgers and stuff like that. But I just really, I think I'm definitely a preference to fish and seafood.
And when you see chicken out in the street, do you run up to it and you're like, "Oh my god, I'm your biggest fan. I eat you every night."
All the chickens that are running about just in the streets.
You just run up to a chicken at a farm and you're like, "I love you, by the way." You know. But yeah, I think it's probably a good point to call it on the pod, because I'm a slipper down. My foot's getting cold. Sasha's stoning here and make me feel guilty. It's just a wee sin in it, him. He's want dinner. He's want dinner.
They're wanting their food.
Lainey, tell the listeners you want the dinner.
There you are.
There you go. There you go, listener. It's just getting shouty now. You don't need to bark at me like that. You don't need to talk to me like that. No, you can talk to me nice. So yes, I'm going to get these puppies their dinner. But thanks for listening, all the listeners.
As always, thank you all.
Tune in next week where hopefully Henry Cavill will have railed me. Me, I know. So yeah, tune in next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening. Bye.